Welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. We're on episode 133. You thought there wasn't going to be an episode this week. I thought so too, nigga. Damn. Oh, man. We're here. Praise be to God. Look, I've been having some body cramps and I'm doing my best to persevere. So here we are, and we're going to record, and we're going to have a great episode. You hear me? You heard? When I tell you this agenda, I don't even know where to begin. And I want to get through all of the topics that I have here for this episode. So let's just start off with Married at First Sight and just get that out the way, because I might spend a good 30 minutes on this, because what in the entire fuck? Okay? And of course, I'm reviewing the latest episode. So if you are on track, you know what episode I'm talking about. Let's get straight into Michaela and Zachary. Zach attack. Now, I unfortunately have to give this disclaimer because more information has been revealed since the release of that episode. So let's go ahead and talk about the disclaimer first. So, Zachary posted a comment. I don't know where he posted this comment. I don't know who he posted a comment to, but he posted a comment and I got wind of it and I have the screenshot of the comment. So I'm going to read it verbatim. So Zachary said, "She knew where I was at. She knew where I was going. She got a text. Watch Unfiltered if you need it cleared up. We have to stop justifying this behavior. It is not healthy in any relationship. Thanks for watching. It only gets better." So this is in reference to a particular scene that occurred in the latest episode of Married at First Sight, when Zachary, from what we see in the regular, like, I don't watch the Unfiltered. What is the unfiltered? The regular episodes are already 2 hours long. You expect for me to sit and watch an unfiltered episode, and then the behind the scenes and the cast talks about it afterwards episode. I'm only here for the regular episode that's already edited and snipped out. Look, I'll get the tea afterwards if it's not accurate to what really occurred, but my initial reaction was, of course, to the regular episode and what I saw. So I was ready, and I'm still kind of ready to defend Michaela, okay? But I have to put on my logical hat. I have to put on my logical and rational hat here and not think only with emotion and anxiety. I have to put aside my emotion and anxiety and think reasonably here, even though it sucks. Even though I want to burn Zachary a good one. I wanted to tear this nigga up. I wanted to go up his ass. I had a Sodom and a Gomorrah ready. Okay? But what's fair is fair is fair is fair. So this is in reference to a particular scene that happened in the show, in this episode, when Zach, he slept with his dog rather than sleeping with his wife the night of, I think it was probably their first night in their shared apartment. And his explanation was that he was putting his dog to sleep, which I'm already annoyed with. I'm sorry, what? Your dog needs to go. Is your dog a human baby? Did you give birth to this dog? No, your dog will be fine. I think sometimes we, and a lot of white people too, and I know it's a lot of black people, just like people in general, just dog owners in general, they're having this this warped perception of dogs. Dogs are suddenly humans now. Dogs are revered, catered to, they're clothed, they're fed. What? You feed your dog? I'm kidding, no. But you know what I mean? Like, dogs have shoes now. Dogs are wearing Halloween costumes. Dogs are with you at a restaurant talking about the sushi platter. the charcuterie board. That a dog is with you during this time. And we've just come so far along in human history where dogs are one of us. And I'm here to tell you right now, I'm sick of it. A dog is a dog. Leave the dog in the yard. The dog should be in the yard, in a dog house. What happened to dog houses? I don't get it. When I was growing up, dogs were outside. And I'm not even old, like I'm 30 years old. So we've come so far into this new idea that dogs are no longer dogs and they are now humans. They have their own room in the house. They pay bill. Does a dog pay a bill? So, this dog is in the house and they have two big ass two big ass dogs. Now these dogs, they seem to be friendly and well behaved for the most part. They don't seem to be wilding and out type of dogs. But there's two big ass dogs. You don't see Michaela putting to sleep her big ass dog. I think your dog knows how to sleep. Aren't dogs cousins of wolves? Aren't dogs, if a chromosome wasn't missing, they could have been a wolf? So you mean to tell me you're putting this wolf or this wannabe wolf to bed? You couldn't have just put the dog outside or not even outside, because obviously the dog's in the apartment with them. But you couldn't just close your door or put your dog in the cage and the dog will figure it out. Oh, it's nap time. Oh, it's time for me to rest my eyes. Typically, the dog copies what you're doing, right? If the dog sees that you're about to sleep, the dog is going to get ready to go to sleep. Typically, that's from what I've seen of dogs growing up. But I remember growing up, again, I'm 30, you guys. Growing up, dogs were outside. Are dogs even outside anymore? Dogs are in the house. Have you guys realized this? I don't see a dog house anymore, like a literal dog house that's outside of the house. I don't see a dog house anymore. I don't see dogs just chilling in the backyard. I remember many a times walking home from school and growing up in Boston, walking home from school. I lived in the Dorchester area, the neighborhood. D-Blog, what's up? Hello? I was like, okay. No, but I was in a neighborhood, and I guess it was somewhat hood, but somewhat not. It was like, I wasn't in the hood, but like after a certain while, like after a few years went by, you could see the gentrification happening. Thank God, because some of these niggas needed to go to jail. There was a shooting that took place earlier, like in the early parts of my street, of my home street, which is still my home because my parents still, like, the home is still there. It's still our home. They still live there. And whenever I go home to Boston, that's the same home I go to, So anyway, earlier in the street, like when you first start off driving into the streets, that was like the hood part where like niggas will just be out, just like on the block, like what's going on? And as you drive further down, like my family home, we're further down on the end of the street. And things got a little brighter there. People were a little bit more, friendlier, approachable. Nobody had a gun. It was nice. But when you go to the earlier parts of the street, like once you start off driving into the street, oh, you better put your head down. Don't wear red. Don't wear blue. Don't even look at nope. Don't say hello. Keep walking straight. Don't even wave or smile. That's how strange it was in just the beginning part of my street. Anyway, walking home from school, I would come across many dogs behind a gate, living in the backyard because that was their home. That was their territory. They wasn't guarding. I mean, they were guarding the house, but that was also where they lived. They not only shit and peed outside, they slept outside. They woke up outside. They played outside. Outside was their home, y'all. And I literally saw there were dog houses, okay? Dog houses on my street in the backyard where the dogs stay. And it was this cute little dog house where you just buy the dog house from Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever, and you set it up in the back, and that is where the dogs stay. The dog stayed outside. Why are you putting your dog to sleep? We have humanized dogs, and I'm sick of it. I'm tired of y'all talking to dogs like they're little babies, like they're human babies. I'm tired of y'all even petting dogs. Maybe it's the Haitian in me, but even my mom would be like, growing up in Haiti, when she would see dogs, they wouldn't pay them any mind. Dogs were dust. And dogs will eat the dog bones. That's why they call it dog bone, or eating the dog bone, when you're eating chicken, which I always eat the dog bone. I always eat the bone in the chicken. That's the best part. Hello. But that was the thing that you would say, because that's literally what you would feed the dogs. You'll eat the meat off the bone, and you'll throw the bone to the dog, and the dog would eat it, and that was their dinner. I'm not saying you gotta still do that now. Maybe I am. But I am saying, what are we doing to dogs? We need to let dogs be dogs. Let dogs be dogs. Now dogs are thinking that they have a key to the house. That dogs don't even go. There's not even a dog door anymore, you guys. I remember seeing dog doors growing up where dogs will go through like this little flippy part in the door, and they will come through when it's time to drink water, but they wouldn't stay in the house. Overall, what I'm saying is dogs are now seen as human babies, little human babies. And I'm sick of it. I don't even know what to say. And then even me saying this is I'm the spawn of Satan, because I'm really just making an observation. Of course, love your dog, take care of your dog. Like, I'm not for, eating dogs, but I am for letting a dog be a dog. Like, don't have your dog on the bed. Don't have I will always reference this point in time when I I meant to see this guy, and he was this white guy, and there was some like flirtation situation going on between us, and I'm like, you know what, let me see what this white guy talking about. Let me see what this nigga's talking about, right? So he invited me over. You guys, those who know the story, because I've talked about this before, but I'm gonna reference it again because it's relevant. So he invites me over because he was cooking me food. He's Greek. So, okay, I know you could cook. The food was good, though. But anyway, so he invites me over to his house. And, there's a part of me just kind of interested in knowing how someone lives. Like, I want to see how your life is like, or whatever, right? He did tell me about his dog. I knew of this dog because he talked about this dog. He revered this dog. This was his dog. And I'm like, okay, yeah, shout out to your dog. Great. Child, I didn't know it was as bad as it was. So I arrived to his front door. The dog is meeting me at the door. The dog basically entered me into the house. Like, do you pay the fucking mortgage? What is going on? So I'm already turned off, because white people and their dogs is a whole different type of conversation that we could have another time, because I'm going to get a headache. Okay? So the dog greets me at the door, basically telling me, hey, do you want some appetizer with that? Basically, so the dog greets me at the door, and I'm entering into his home. He lives a humble home, and, no shade to anything, but it's pretty tight. It's tight because I'm also sharing this space with your dog. And yes, I knew your dog lived with you, obviously. Yes, I knew the dog was going to be there, but maybe I just assumed wrong. I figured he was going to leave the dog in the cage, separate the dog from us. No, the dog was walking around willy-nilly, just literally checking around the house, just like the dog really paid rent here. I'm walking to the kitchen, seeing how he's cooking, and I'm looking at the food, just like, being cute, looking around, and the dog is with me. Like, right? The dog is my shadow. Nigga, what the fuck is going on? So I walk back out. Mind you, the home is really small. It's a humble abode, which is fine. So I go back outside, not outside. I leave the kitchen. I enter the living room, and of course he has a leather couch. Men in their leather couch. Cold as fuck. It's cold. The couch is cold. That's why I don't like leather couches, because it's just so damn cold. Anyway, so I'm sitting down. The dog is seated right next to me. Not even the dog. Wait, the dog was initially seated right next to me, but the guy, let's call him Greek. Greek was he finally told the dog, "Oh, sit," or he motioned for the dog to go sit over there. Over there simply means the other leather couch. That's where the dog went. The dog is sitting on the couch. I'm sorry, what the fuck is going on? Am I being punked? The dog is on the other couch, seated on the other couch, as if it's a human being. And I think it's the girl, whatever. They're dogs. I don't see gender. I don't see gender. This is the only time I don't see gender identity. No, so anyway, the dog is seated on the other couch, and me and him, we're seated on the couch together eating food, and the dog is gawking me, y'all. The dog is ready to fight me. The dog wasn't aggressive, thankfully. It wasn't an aggressive dog, and I'm typically, well, at least at that time, I was a little bit more uncomfortable with bigger dogs. This dog, what kind of, I don't know, it wasn't a German. It was like, I don't know, it was a black dog. Like, that doesn't help at all. It was a black big dog. Anyway, it wasn't a Shih Tzu, right? One of those little dogs you could kick around like, oh, bitch, get the fuck away from me, right? It was a dog, okay? Basically, this dog could have been a wolf. So the dog was seated right over there, and the dog was staring me down, just like upset. Like, damn, you cock blocking. I wasn't trying to fuck him at all. But the point is, if I wanted to, I wasn't going to anymore, because the dog made me so uncomfortable that this opportunity is now no longer, okay? So the dog is seated over there watching my every move. The dog is also making expressions with her face. She's like this jealousy expression on her face, like, oh, who's this bitch type of look. The dog was also giving the cold shoulder to Greek, to the guy, to her owner. When he was motioning her, like trying to be nice to her, the dog was like turning her head. She looked at him and huffed and sighed. And I'm sitting there like, what in the fuck is going on? Is everything okay? I'm kind of freaking out because I'm not used to dogs like behaving like this. I didn't grow up with dogs personally. I seen dogs around, but like I didn't grow up with a dog personally. So I don't know like the mannerisms of a dog. I'm not familiar with that. So when I saw this dog sighing, huffing and puffing because I'm here, new bitch is here. New bitch is here. Ruff, ruff. DMX. The dog is about to basically fight me. Thankfully, it wasn't like a pit bull, aggressive dog. I know that's a stereotype. Pit bulls aren't aggressive. Yes, the fuck they are. They look aggressive. They're aggressive, okay? But anyway, the dog was like staring me down. And one time I asked, so during that time, I asked him, like, oh, are you gonna put him in the cage? Or put her, it was a girl dog. Are you gonna put her in the cage? And I'm just like asking, like, hey, don't you notice that the dog is kind of getting in the way? And I asked that, are you gonna put her in the cage? And he said no. He said no. And it was at that very moment, amongst other moments during that night, when I realized, yeah, he's not getting this pussy. He's not getting this mouth. He's not getting this pussy. He's not getting this ass. He's not getting this stomach. He's not getting this head. Like, any part of my body, he's not getting. Okay? And that's exactly what happened, because the dog was such a turnoff for me, because why are you treating this dog as if it's a human being? The dog will be fine if she stays in the fucking cage for 5 hours. Can we fuck? It's a joke, okay? That's also savagery. But the point is, when we blur the lines between dog and human, it's a problem. So Zach taking the dog to bed, waiting till the dog goes to sleep, I'm already turned off. So regardless of the statement that he made, I'm already turned off that you slept in the other room with the dog rather than me, an actual human being whom you could fuck. I'm sure you could fuck a dog, but you shouldn't. But an actual human being whom you could fuck, whom you are attracted to, and you're choosing to sleep with the dog. Okay, he's saying, oh, well, I got, I just fell asleep. It was an accident. I just fell asleep. I don't give a fuck. Hello? Is the mic on? I don't give a fuck. You fell asleep. I'm sorry, what? Oh, you fell asleep. I'm sorry, huh? You had the Z's. You fell asleep? I don't give a fuck. Why aren't you in bed with me? That's all I hear is you are not in bed with me. All I hear is you chose, because I see it as a choice. Ain't no fucking accident. You chose to sleep with the dog, and I'm over here, pussy wet, titties out, literally, because I don't sleep with a shirt on, titties out, ready for you, and you're sleeping with the dog. I'm irate. So I don't care about anything else. You slept with the dog. You basically, I'm just already upset. So there's more to get into, obviously, but already from the top, you fucked up. You fucked up, Zach. You fucked up. Why are you putting the dog? Is the dog a human baby? Did you give birth? It's really annoying to me, because I just don't understand. And there's this idea, or the stereotype that, that a dog is a man's best friend. And maybe that really is the case, because you have two instances of a dog controlling the moves of the man over the woman whom he's with. I'm on a date with this Greek nigga talking about, no, he's not gonna put the dog in the cage. I didn't ask for you to fucking, kill the dog for a second. I didn't ask for you to put your dog in euthanasia. Put your dog to sleep real quick. Let's go to the bedroom. No. Put your dog in the cage. Where is I don't think there even was is there a cage in the room? Yeah. It was so bizarre. So literally, let's go back to the story real quick, because I still can't believe that whole night. That night, the whole time I was sitting there, I was just laughing internally. I'd just be like, yo, when I get on the podcast, I'm going to talk about this real quick, because I'm crying in tears, crying in laughter. So anyway, we're still, okay, so we finished eating the dinner that he made. The dinner was great. I think it was some type of pasta. He's Greek, of course. Of course it's going to be fettuccine. So we finished eating, and we're watching a movie, this Netflix movie that it was a really good movie. I've been thinking about that movie, and I want to watch it again. It's on Netflix. I'm going to try to find it. It was about this girl, this white girl. She traveled abroad for this foreign, I think probably Russia. And she did it alone, and she meets this guy. They connect. They have a one-night stand, but the one-night stand turned to be an abduction, bitch. And I think it was actually based off of a true account. I don't know how every detail is. It's such a good movie, yo. Let me try to figure out what the name of it is, but it's such a good movie. I remember even after ending the date and ending it off with that guy, I asked him one time, I'm like, can you tell me the name of the movie again that we watched? It was so good. That movie was that good. I'm not playing. Anyway, so while we was watching the movie, the dog is sitting there on the couch watching the movie with us. And I'm just trying to understand, are we about to have a threesome? Is there like a situation going on? Should I be aware of? Are you trying to, fuck me from the back twice? Like, what's going on? Anyway, like I said, nothing happened. It ended there because that was such a turnoff. Zach, you cannot put your dog to sleep. I think they need to have that conversation because you don't see. I mean, Michaela didn't say anything about putting her dog, her other big, like both of them have big dogs, like I said. So there was no conversation about her putting her dog to sleep. So I don't understand why this is even a thing. Like, what are we talking about? Like, it just really doesn't make any sense. So anyway, okay. So he puts the dog, and then just to add to that, they were separated because he had COVID and he stayed in Florida Keys until he was negative from COVID, and they had to be separated for a good 8 days. They finally come back. He's finally able to come back to Houston. He meets up with her. They move into their apartment. And you mean to tell me you're choosing to spend the one night that we finally have back together? And yes, potentially there are many more nights to come of them being together. I get it. It's the principle, though. This is our first night, finally back together, back in each other's arms, and you slept with the dog. Huh? Okay. I just don't, that doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, okay, so he doesn't sleep with her, and she's obviously waiting on him, and she eventually goes to sleep. Okay, morning comes, he gets up in the morning, and he takes the dogs, apparently took both of the dogs, and he leaves. He leaves in the morning, and he doesn't return until 2 hours later. He actually, when he left, according to the scene and according to the next scene when they talked about it, they never met each other. She never knew that he left, and she wakes up and she goes to the other room to see where he is. So she's calling his name, Zach. He's nowhere to be found. Nigga's missing. There's a whole report going outside, 911. He's missing. And she's upset. Reasonably so. Look, I get it. Now, would I bang the Clorox wipes on the table? Yes. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I'm kidding. It's a joke. No, but I get it. I get it. I think we are so quick to call the crazy car. And look, I do think she's crazy. And I think I'm crazy. So what's the problem? No, let me stop joking around if I scare people. But seriously, I understand the frustration. That's really what it is. Like, I'm fixated on the frustration and the irritation of it all. And that's where it is, that's where I'm coming from on it, because I see it as there is this lack of regard that you have. Like, it goes deeper for me. So it's not just, I just accidentally slept, which I'm sure from what Zachary was saying too, was that it wasn't intentional. He wasn't trying to be hurt. I believe that. I do believe that. I don't think it was intentional, but I wouldn't initially see it like that. I would just see it like this was a time for us to be together, for us to start being together more consistently every night. Now that we're back together, now that you're COVID negative, now that we can be together, and you chose the dog. That just, I think it's just a principle for me that will make me so upset. Like, I get so fixated on those moments, and I don't even recognize, it was an accident, it wasn't a big deal, like, let's move on. And I'm working towards there to not fixate on the little things and to realize, okay, this was just an accident, we can move on, it's not a big deal. But my mind, let me tell you how my mind goes, and I can see how Michaela is thinking the same way. Like, my mind is gonna go to, you disregarded me. You didn't think about me. You chose self over me, or you chose, you didn't think about me and my feelings. You were just concerned about everything else but me. And sure, yes, you have other responsibility. You have a dog, you gotta take care of it. But like, what about me? Hello? But I just think about it like that one. And then I see it as this could be a spiraling effect. What if now you chose a dog. Now the next night you're gonna choose a dog again. The next night you're going to choose the game again. You're gonna choose playing cards with your friends again. You're gonna choose going out. I go down that road and I immediately think of all of the other times you could possibly choose someone else over me. It starts off with the dog, y'all. It starts off with the dog. So when I see that, I understand the frustration that Michaela is feeling. I understand because one, from the regular episode, again, I'm only going off of the regular episode, I'm seeing it as, okay, he not only did not sleep with her that night, and she was obviously waiting on him, and eventually she fell asleep, and he fell asleep, and then, okay, cool. Well, not okay, cool at all, but okay, that happened, right? The next day, you mean to tell me you just up and leave? You up and leave. So now my mind is going to go to, wait, so were you even here last night? Did you leave the home were you even in the same home as me last night? Huh? So now I'm not even thinking about the fact that, oh, you could have just slept with the dog accidentally. I'm thinking about the fact that, oh no, you may have not even been at the house with me. You may not, like, this, that's where my mind is going. So he slept with the dog. He leaves in the morning, doesn't tell her, doesn't talk to her, doesn't leave a note, doesn't wake her up real quick and let her know, doesn't text her. And she apparently, according to the regular episode, she apparently texts him and he doesn't respond. And now I'm even more irate as the viewer, as someone who understands how she feels immediately, because I'm looking at it as, wait, another disregard. You are now choosing to not talk to me. You're now choosing to not inform me and keep me abreast. You're now choosing not me. And I'm feeling for her. I'm really upset for her. So all of this is happening and I'm upset. I get it. I get it. Yeah, maybe her leaving is not the appropriate reaction, right? So she packed up her thing. Literally, she packed up her 2 IKEA bags and walked the fuck out. Like, damn, girl, what? But she did pack up her things and walked out because she was so upset. Now, I wouldn't do that, and I'm not going to praise that reaction that she did. I don't think that's right. I don't think you should walk out. But I would blow up your phone, probably. I would maybe wait an hour or two until, I don't know, but maybe I wouldn't walk out to leave and sleep somewhere else. Maybe if anything, I would walk out the apartment to like take a walk and calm myself down. So by the time you return, I would be calm. I would have a reasonable conversation with you and we could move forward. But anyway, she walked out with her 2 IKEA bags, and I just think everything could have been handled had proper communication and had a regard of me been in place. So this brings me back to the message that Zachary shared. She knew where I was at. She knew where I was going. She got a text. Watch Unfiltered if you need to have it cleared up. We have to stop justifying this behavior. Now, according to from what I'm hearing of what happened in Unfiltered, so apparently the night prior or the day prior to that scene, she and he talked about a couple of things. She said to him how she does not she hates to be woken up. She does not like it. Don't wake me up if I'm sleeping. Do not, you're going to get a Hurricane K. And he took that literally, which sure, maybe that's what she meant literally. He took that very literally and followed suit because he was afraid of the reaction that he might receive had he woken her up. Okay, I guess Excuse me. So that's one thing. And apparently, the day before, he talked to her about the schedule for that following morning, that he would drop off the dog to dog daycare at this time. They had the discussion. It was something that was already discussed and planned. So he's confused as to why she's reacting the way she is, and doesn't understand it. So here's a couple of things I'm gathering from this. She could have forgot, right? And maybe she obviously could have put two and two together. Okay, both dogs are not in the apartment. And Ring, I remember we talked about you bringing the dog to the dog daycare. Sure. I still think I'm trying not to sound like I'm capping for or caping for Michaela, but I still feel like there's still not enough communication between them that could have helped the situation overall. Had he just say, like, he could have still shot her, like, okay, he doesn't want to wake her up, that's fine, but he still could have shot her a text and said, hey, leaving the house now, dropping the dogs at daycare, that's it, fine. Now, I don't know why it takes 2 hours to bring the dogs to daycare. See, that's where my mind goes. Because I'm thinking daycare is around the corner. And if it's not around the corner, okay, you got to commute there. But if anything, an hour should be enough. But 2 hours, I guess, is not a big deal. But still, the point is, from the regular episode, it seemed like he didn't text her at all. They didn't communicate at all. And then he just was out for 2 hours. And plus the hours that he did not sleep with her prior, like, that's a lot of fucking hours of not having my husband. So I feel like had he just texted her again in the morning, or just in the morning, like, hey, just letting you know I'm heading to the dog daycare right now. I'll see you in a bit, right? I think that would have helped everything. She would have just checked, immediately when you wake up, you check your phone, right? You go to the bathroom, but you check your phone. And she could have just read that message and been like, oh yeah, right, we did talk about that, and been fine with it. But the fact that not only did he not sleep in the same bed as her because he slept with the dog, and not only did he apparently not communicate to her standards, at least, it adds on to the frustration. Now, I think she has some unresolved issues that she needs to deal with personally. There is responsibility that I can't put on her, woman to woman, mental health to mental health. But I do see abandonment issues with her. She's still grieving the loss of her father, who passed the year before she met Zach. So everything is still fresh. And she also grew up in a home where she talked about how her parents talked really nasty to each other in a negative, not nasty, but like in a negative way. Like, they would curse out each other. So she saw that regularly in her home. And I think because she did not really work through communication styles, she is still repeating the negative behaviors that she saw growing up. And that is something that she definitely needs to work on, and that is not excusable. I do not excuse that behavior. I don't think it's right to curse out your man, like the way she talks to him. You a doggone motherfucking lie. Like, again, but I don't speak like that. I'm not Black American in that sense, because I don't grow up, like, I grew up in a Haitian household, so, like, we don't motherfucking dog. Like, what? Like, that's not what my mom said. My mom did not say that, though my mom had a mouth on her, praise the Lord, but that's not the language that I grew up in. So I do think there's a responsibility that she needs to take. Her reaction to things needs to be refined, and she needs to learn how to communicate better, and so does he. I still think he could increase his communication style. He could just regard her more, and that's what is just the point of contention for me. There is, in that moment, in that scene, there seems to be a lack of regard. The scene when they were sitting down in the couch right before Pastor Carl came in, it felt like he was just annoyed with her, which I understand. Sure, the whole situation could be annoying, and he was trying to rectify the situation and just like talk it out and just move on. But sometimes with women, you have to really stay in the moment and work me through it. Like, work the woman through their emotion, reassure her where she needs reassurance, and you and then speak rationally, right? But there is moments when you do have to be emotional with your woman so that she could feel your presence, so that she could feel that, okay, he understands, he's listening, he comprehends where I'm coming from. That is the point. The whole time when they were talking, Zach was just like over it. He was over it. He literally just said how he's not gonna talk about it anymore. Like, he's done talking about it. And that would have annoyed me too. And she's talking about, well, is there a resolve? Now, look, again, I don't like the way she speaks to him, but I also don't like the way that he is so casual about things. I think sometimes with men, though they have this awesome trait of being rational, logical thinkers and movers and doers, I think that's amazing and very admirable. Sometimes they lack the emotional intelligence, the emotional, just the sensitivity overall that is needed when communicating with the woman. So when he was talking to her, he was, he uses his hands a lot. Like, what's going on? But I also had to remember that he grew up in a white, patriarchal, or is that the right word? But someone said that word, or maybe I'm saying it wrong. But basically, he grew up in a white Catholic town. He went to an all boys Catholic high school, and he was one of the two black men there. So he had a lot of like white Irish men around him, and Jolly Rancher and was it Lucky Charms niggas around him. So he definitely is going to adopt some of the same mannerisms that they have. So I have to not immediately just assume he's gay or he's down low because he uses his hands a lot or his different mannerisms. Now, it still could be true. But I just think overall he just lacks the swag that a nigga has. A regular man has. Not to say they're not regular. I'm not saying that. But, like, you know what I mean? I think ultimately he just lacks that black man swag because he grew up a lot around white men, white Irish Catholic men. So that explains his mannerisms and his hand movements and all that jazz. But I think overall his just demeanor was very lackadaisical. He just didn't give a fuck, and I just don't like that. Like, I'm not saying you gotta yell with me or like, I just feel like ultimately what I saw that Michaela needed, she needed Zach to say, I'm sorry. I did not mean for you to feel that way. I wanted him to speak calmly. He talks kind of, he talks very like frantically. Like, nigga, are we in a fucking race? Are we racing for our lives? Calm down. He talks super frantically. I hate it. So I think that would add on to my anxiety. Like, my man needs to be calm and collected, not, I talk about that. Why are you talking like that? So anyway, he talks too frantically. So if he just kind of calmed down his speech, that could have possibly helped Michaela to feel assured. I think ultimately as women, we just need to feel reassured. I know I do. Like, shit, every day. Remind me you like me again. Remind me you love me. Please just remind me. Send me a text right now. Remind me. That's how I see things, but I know I'm not alone, and I know it's like a personal issue, but I think ultimately, if you know your partner is, of course, they're they just got married, they just met each other, all these things, but I think ultimately, if you know your partner's love language is words of affirmation, right, and you know that they struggle with like maybe some insecurities, and yes, that's a personal issue. I definitely agree with that, and you should not be your partner's therapist. Absolutely. Look, I get it. I was with Boston Bay for a few years, and I was his fucking punching bag because he didn't have a daddy at home. And I get it. I also think there are moments when you do have to just acquiesce to your partner's needs. Like some people just need to be affirmed. That's just really, like, some people just need to be affirmed, because there are moments when they're not feeling as great, and they may not feel as loved in their relationship, and they just need to feel affirmed. It's like how some men just need, well, all men, they need to fuck, they need to, a feel of a booty. Most women needs to be affirmed. They need to feel like, okay, he likes me, okay, he loves me, or I see it in this way. I see it, like, whether you say it literally or you show it in different ways, that needs to be done. And I'm definitely one of those women. So I get Michaela. I wish Zach would just calm down when he talks, as far as his talking pace. And I wish Michaela would learn how to communicate. Like, both of them need to grow. I don't think it's all on Michaela here. Yes, she looked like the crazy one because she banged the Lysol wipes. I get it, but I also want us to look at everything holistically and not be so quick to put down one of the couples here. All right, let's talk about Bao and Johnny. Bow down, bitches. Let's talk about Bao real quick. Okay. Now, I had high hopes for Bao and Johnny. Episode 1. Like, oh, look at this cute little Asian couple. Asian love matters. That's all I was thinking about. Until I saw Johnny and Bao and realized, maybe their love is not there. And yes, it could grow and yada yada this, yada yada that. I think, though, there is a disconnect between the two. We have Johnny here, Johnny boy, who is, it's funny, they're both opposites of each other in particular ways. So Johnny, he seems to present a maturity in his manhood, while Bao presents seemingly an immaturity in her womanhood. And Johnny, he is childlike when it comes to emotional intelligence. Like, he immediately shuts down and feel attacked and feel just quiet overall when Bao expresses her feelings of hurt whenever he brings up her snoring or anything that is hurtful to her, right? Instead of just reacting like, oh, I'm sorry about that, I'll do better, he instead takes it so personal. He feels overwhelmed. He needs to leave the house. Like, it's just, he lacks the emotional maturity, while Bao presents a high emotional intelligence, a high emotional maturity. So it's very funny how they lack in the very ways that is opposite from each other. So anyway, they definitely they're the opposites of each other when it comes to that. There was a moment when Johnny tells Bao that he feels uncomfortable and turned off when she acts like a kid. I was just talking about this recently, and there was some good points made about how that's just how she expresses herself, and now him saying that is going to deter her from being who she is. And though I agree with that, I also want to look into, why does Bao talk like that when she's trying to be sensual? Like, what is that about? I think there is some sense of discomfort when it comes to sensuality and sexuality and embracing your womanhood and your curves. I don't think Bao has reached a point in her womanhood where she is just in love with herself and in love with her body. And once you're in love with yourself and your body and just who you are, you're not nervous to flirt with any guy, right? You're more confident and demonstrative to whomever, because you love and you really recognize, you're the shit, So I think Bao hasn't reached that point yet in her womanhood. And you see that in many, like in the examples that they showed in that moment, how she's, how when they were kissing in the hotel room during their honeymoon, and he's kissing her mad, sensual, like a man. And she kisses him. She's like, you know how, you know the Asian laugh. It's a joke. No, but yeah, she laughed. She laughed right after she kissed him, and she like did this like kind of bashful face, which is just what? Like, that is a conversation that I want to have. It's not about like shooting her down. Sure, express yourself how you express yourself, but let's also talk about why do you express yourself that way? Can we talk about that? That right there. Can we talk about that? So I think she definitely lacks this maturity and just comfort within her own self and her identity, and it shows through those moments when she needs to just be a damn grown ass adult, a damn grown woman. Because when Pastor Cal was like, you have a grown woman here, and this is not a, I want you to challenge yourself and to not look at that as an obstacle. And I'm looking at Pastor Cal like, nigga, what? I just feel like sometimes he be saying the wrong things. Like, no, I feel like he could have said yes. What he's saying as far as like, now you're shaming her basically of expressing just being herself. I get the issue with that. I definitely get that, and I agree with that. But I also think he could have stretched that moment and been like, well, Bao, let's talk about why do you react in these ways when you're having a sexy time with your man. Like, let's talk about that. I think she lacks that just maturity. So yes, it's uncomfortable to hear. And I think maybe he could have said it differently, or maybe he could have, I don't know how else to say that. But ultimately, I do see this little girl in her, this shyness in her when it comes to a romantic relationship. Now, I'm sure she's the boss.com when she's at work, when she's filing papers, whatever the fuck she does. But that doesn't translate when she's in a romantic situation. And I think that is a deeper conversation that needs to be had. So what the fuck is going on with that? So there's one. Johnny, he needs to grow up in the manner of a man emotionally. He lacks the maturity there. He is quick to walk away and quick to shut down and quick to be like, well, if we weren't married, and I would have been, and if I didn't sign up for our, and I just think it's weird. I appreciate how well Bao reacted when he said to her, that he's gonna just go home after this, go back to his home after this, and take a few days to himself. I would have been a Michaela and tore up the whole table. Never mind Clorox wipes. I would have flipped the table like, nigga, I'm sorry, what? You said what now? Huh? That would have been an issue for me. So, but I do respect how Bao approached it or reacted to it. Because she's emotionally mature when it comes to like conversations and stuff like that, she just basically said, that does bring concern to me. Like, if you're going to walk away when things get a little tough, then that just, I don't know how I feel about that. So I do appreciate how she reacted. I think he does lack some maturity in his manhood overall when it comes to emotional intelligence, while she lacks maturity in her womanhood. So it's just very interesting how they lack in those ways, and they don't lack in the ways opposite to each other, if I'm making sense to anyone. But hopefully there's some growth that could happen there, and bow down, bitches. Okay, let's talk about R. Kelly real quick. I do have him on the docket, and I don't know if I wanted to even get into it, but we're here. So I particularly want to talk about R. Kelly because now Aaliyah is brought up in the conversation, and different just different moments of his case, Aaliyah is now brought up. And a lot of the things that we've learned about his relationship with her has resurfaced. And those who didn't know are now abreast to their marriage that they had when she was 15 and he was 27. And it just brings up a lot of concern because, first of all, everyone fucked up. Everyone fucked up. Aaliyah's parents, Aaliyah's brother, Aaliyah's uncle, like everyone fucked up. Not just R. Kelly. Not to say that he doesn't have obviously any blame here, but I think about like how does a 15-year-old get close enough to a 27-year-old? So much so that she is now in love with him, enamored by him, preyed on by him, and they're married. Like, how does it even get that far? So it makes me wonder, where the fuck were her parents? Where were her guards? Where were her guardrail type of family members who could have stepped in and stopped what could have been, or what they saw could have happened to be an inappropriate relationship, which is what it turned out to be, obviously, right? Her uncle, who is I forgot his first name, but his last name is Hankerson, and he's a known manager in the music industry, and he's known for managing different artists like Tank and Aaliyah. But yeah, that's his Aaliyah is his niece, and he's the brother of Aaliyah's mom. So they're family, you know? So he's responsible of introducing R. Kelly to Aaliyah. And there's blame there too. Like, why? I don't know. I think the whole music industry is just a fucked up career path, or fucked up just place to be in. Hollywood, all of that. And it saddens me to know that she was just failed this way. And prior to her death, there was never a surviving story from her. Like, she never was able to, she didn't have her moment to really talk about it. You know, like, what were some traumatic effects that she had from that relationship? What were some traumatic experiences that she may have had to be enamored by this 27-year-old? Like, I wondered, had Aaliyah still been alive, would she have a story to tell? Like, would she? I'm sure she would, but I do wonder what. And I wonder why she was never given that opportunity back then, prior to her death. Like, she only died when she was 22. So it's just, there wasn't enough time to even get to that story. And right after her marriage was annulled with R. Kelly, there wasn't any, like, there was no talk about it. Like, you don't bring him up. Whoever interviewed her in interviews since then were strongly discouraged from bringing up R. Kelly. So much so that even if they did bring up R. Kelly, rumor had it that the interview was shut down and it was closed, right? So it was as if it never happened. And maybe that was her family's way of protecting her now, right? Or then trying to make up for what they didn't do. But I just think about overall how that could have affected her psyche. Think about, you grow up, you realize, damn, I was in a relationship with a 27-year-old while I was 15. That really was fucked up. Like, when she came to that realization, if she did, like, what if she didn't? But, like, let's say if she did come to that realization, I wonder what she could have said about it, or what she felt during that time, and what she could have just had healed from that. What was still, there's a lot of questions I have, and it's obviously pointless now, but just a lot of things that could have been done differently, and she didn't have the opportunity to tell her own story. And maybe if she wanted to back then, when she was alive, she probably was not encouraged at all to do so. So overall, I think she was failed by everybody. Fuck everybody. And fuck Hankerson. Not primarily, but like one of the primary reasons why I'm saying fuck Hankerson is because he's in charge of some of the discography of Tank. And if you know me, you know I love Tank. I love Tank. Okay? I love him musically. I love him artistically. And what I mean by artistically is he's also an actor, or like I've seen him in acting roles like on BET and different shows or whatever. And he acts his ass off. Like, I love his acting skills. I feel so connected to, I don't know. He just he seems like a good guy, pretty cool, like a really cool, down to earth type of guy. And I hate that Hankerson, the guy, the one who managed his records, some of his records, has a tight leash on some of his records, particularly the song that I love by Tank is Maybe I Deserve. That's not available on, let me double check because unless I change, but Maybe I Deserve is not available on Apple Music, where I listen to my music. What else? There's another song that I love by Tank is Slowly. That's not available on Apple Music. And oh my gosh, there's another song, Slowly. Yeah, that's Slowly. Making love all night. So yeah, that's Slowly. Maybe I Deserve. And I feel like there was one more, but I'm not even sure. I will tell you right now. Hold on. Because when I tell you I used to, yeah, those are the two songs yeah, that was it. Those two songs, growing up, I used to sing my ass off to Slowly. Talking about making love. I was not having sex then, but I loved him because I used to watch YouTube earlier in my years when YouTube first started off, and I would like find videos of artists singing, and I would just fall in love with just the art of it all, right? And Tank, I would watch his performances, his live performances on YouTube, and I loved how he performed Slowly. I wanna take it slow. Yo, I can't even talk about it anymore. I can't even, because I'm gonna have to get off the mic. But seriously, he sings the song, and all of his emotion is in the song. And like, if you just listen to the words, like aside from Tank being attractive and all this, like all that stuff, great. But if you listen to the words and the emotion that he's provoking, oh, it's like, nigga, I'll fall in the river for you. I won't even cross the river for you. I'll fall in the river for you. Please sing that song to me right now. Please. Yo, I love that song. That song, like, Slowly just does it to me. And I can't listen to it on my own because it's not available on Apple Music. I have to go on YouTube and listen to it on you. Even though I have YouTube Premium now, I could do that. But still, the point is, why isn't it available on a music platform, right? Same for Maybe I Deserve. Like, that was the fucking hit. What? So, like, Tank's earlier hits are not available, and that really just bothers me. And that's because of Hankerson. He put a lock and key on these records, and it just really sucks. I remember when I used to follow Tank on Instagram, I would send him messages. I'm like, or when he'll go on Instagram live, I would leave a comment like, how come Slowly and Maybe I Deserve isn't available on on Apple Music? And I don't think he ever responded. Yeah, he never responded. But yeah, I really love those records. So that is really the main reason why I dislike Hankerson, all right? Aside from Aaliyah. But yeah, you know what, you guys? I think I'm going to end it here. Let's see. Was there anything else I wanted to get into? This is already a delayed episode. Let me just go ahead and get this out. Let me go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate every listen. Leave a comment, like, review, subscribe. Make sure you are subscribed, and follow our Instagram page at God Built This Pod. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. Be sure to leave a review, give me 5 stars, and of course, subscribe. Also, follow God Built This Podcast on Instagram at God Built This Pod. God bless.